Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at top 7 most unsafe SUVs 2025. Number 7. Cadillac XT6. The Cadillac XT6 might look like a fancy, family-friendly SUV, but when it comes to safety, it has more red flags than a bad dating profile. First off, the crash test ratings are nothing to brag about. The IIHS gave it a marginal rating in the small overlap front test, which is like saying, hey, it's not the worst, but you might want to think twice before trusting it with your life. Meanwhile, rivals like the Volvo XC90 and Acura MDX score top-tier ratings, making the XT6 feel like it's playing catch-up in a category where second place isn't good enough. Then there's the price. The XT6 starts at around $50,000, but if you want the good safety features, Cadillac makes you pay extra. Automatic emergency braking? Standard, but not great. The optional Super Cruise driver assistance system? That's a $2,000 add-on. And even with it, hands-free driving isn't as foolproof as Cadillac wants you to believe. And let's talk about size. It's big, but not in a safe and sturdy way. More like a hard-to-maneuver and bad visibility way. Rear visibility is poor, and the blind spots are large enough to hide a compact car. The steering is also numb, so good luck making quick corrections in an emergency. If you're spending this much money, you'd expect a fortress on wheels, but the XT6 feels more like a high-priced gamble. Number 6. Buick Encore GX. The Buick Encore GX is an SUV that looks safe, but tells a different story when you check the crash test results. The IIHS gave it a marginal rating for the small overlap front test, which is just one step above poor. In other words, in a real crash, the front structure might fold up like a cheap lawn chair. The NHTSA gave it 3 out of 5 stars overall, but the front passenger side safety got just 2 stars. That means if you're in the front seat during a crash, you might want to start saying your goodbyes. Then there's the price. The Encore GX starts at around $26,000, but if you want basic safety features like adaptive cruise control, you'll have to pay extra. Buick's so-called driver confidence package isn't standard on lower trims, which is ironic given the name. Meanwhile, rivals like Toyota and Honda throw in these features without asking for more cash. And let's talk about blind spots. This SUV has plenty, thanks to thick pillars that make lane changes a gamble. The tires don't help either. The base model gets tiny 18-inch wheels with average all-season tires, so if you hit a wet road, don't expect much grip. So while the Encore GX might look like a safe suburban ride, the numbers and reality say otherwise. Buick might call it confidence, but that's not exactly what you'll feel behind the wheel. Number 5. Kia Sportage. The Kia Sportage might look like a decent choice for an SUV, but when it comes to safety, the numbers don't lie, and they aren't pretty. The 2025 model has got a concerning marginal rating in the IIHS moderate overlap crash test for rear passengers, which, in crash test language, is just one step above, we hope you have good insurance. Then there's the questionable reliability that makes you wonder if Kia engineers got tired halfway through the design process. The Sportage has been caught up in multiple recalls over the years, with fire risks, faulty brakes, and airbag issues making headlines. The 2023 model even had a recall for a potential fuel leak, because what's an SUV without a little risk of spontaneous combustion? And let's not forget the repair costs. Kia's warranty might cover some of it, but once that's up, get ready to fork out over $1,200 a year for maintenance. That's more than a Honda CR-V, and about $500 higher than the industry average. If you ever need a major repair, brace yourself. Engine issues on Kias have cost some owners upwards of $5,000. So, if safety is anywhere on your priority list, the Kia Sportage might not be the best bet. Between crash test concerns, potential fires, and a habit of breaking down when you least expect it, this SUV offers more surprises than you'd probably like. Number 4. Chevrolet Trax. The Chevrolet Trax is like a budget airline ticket. You think you're getting a deal until you realize what's missing. For starters, its safety ratings aren't exactly confidence-inspiring. The IIHS gave past models mediocre scores in crash tests, particularly in small overlap front crashes. That's a problem when the average American highway is packed with SUVs twice its size. In a crash, the Trax isn't the tank you'd want between you and reality. Then there's the lack of advanced driver assist features. While competitors at similar price points offer standard safety tech like adaptive cruise control and blind spot monitoring, Chevy's idea of standard is more like optional for extra cash. If you want decent safety tech in a Trax, Be ready to throw in a few extra $1,000s, which completely kills the whole affordable SUV appeal. Speaking of money, the Trax's resale value drops faster than a smartphone without a case. SUVs are supposed to hold value, but the Trax struggles. After just 3 years, you could be looking at a resale value around 50% of what you paid, meaning your $23,000 purchase could quickly turn into a $12,000 regret. And let's talk about those paper-thin tires and the floaty suspension. Hit a pothole in the city, and it feels like the car just signed you up for a chiropractic appointment. This thing isn't built to handle rough roads, and in a country where potholes are practically landmarks, that's not reassuring. Number 3. Hyundai Venue. The Hyundai Venue is a subcompact SUV that looks cute but has some serious safety concerns that might make you think twice before handing over your hard-earned dollars. First, let's talk about crash tests. The Venue gets a measly 3-star overall safety rating from the NHTSA, while many rivals score a full 5 stars. In side impact tests, it struggles, which is not great considering the increasing number of SUVs and trucks on American roads. Then there's the weight. At just around 2,700 pounds, the Venue is one of the lightest SUVs on the market. Sounds good for fuel economy, but in a crash, mass matters. The physics are simple. Heavier vehicles usually fare better. When a Venue goes up against something like a Ford Explorer, which is over 4,300 pounds, guess which one takes the bigger hit? And let's not forget the thin layer of safety tech. Sure, you get automatic emergency braking, but the system is known to be overly sensitive at times and not the most reliable in real-world scenarios. Lane keeping assist? It works when it wants to. And don't expect all-wheel drive. Hyundai doesn't even offer it. For an SUV, that's like buying a raincoat that isn't waterproof. At a starting price of around $20,000, the Venue is tempting. But when it comes to safety, you might be paying more in hospital bills than you saved at the dealership. Number 2. Jeep Compass. The Jeep Compass is the kind of SUV that looks tough but folds under pressure like a bad poker hand. Safety? Well, let's just say it's not its strong suit. The IIHS tested it, and the results weren't exactly reassuring. Its small overlap front test showed weaknesses, and the headlights, oh boy. The base models come with dim halogens that barely light up the road, earning a poor rating. So if you like seeing at night, you might want to budget extra for the pricier trims. Speaking of budget, repairs on this thing aren't cheap either. The Compass has a history of reliability issues, and fixing one can feel like a second car payment. A faulty transmission or electrical gremlins can set you back thousands. Plus, Jeep isn't exactly generous with warranties. Basic coverage lasts only 3 years or 36,000 miles. That's not much peace of mind when competitors offer better protection. And let's talk about crash tests. The NHTSA gave it 3 out of 5 stars overall, which isn't terrible, but it's also not great when rivals in the same price range score a full 5. The structure doesn't hold up as well as you'd hope in a head-on collision, meaning you might not walk away as comfortably as you'd like. So, if you're looking for an SUV that feels solid and protects you like a fortress, the Compass is more like a wooden fence in a windstorm, shaky, unpredictable, and likely to cost you a fortune in the long run. Number 1. Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. The Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross is an SUV that looks like it wants to be sporty but somehow missed the memo on safety. If you're spending over $27,000, you'd expect a vehicle that doesn't make you second-guess every lane change. But here's the issue. This thing struggles in crash tests. The IIHS slapped it with a poor rating for side impact protection. Not exactly reassuring when you're sharing the road with trucks the size of small apartment buildings. Then there's the visibility. The rear window design is split in a way that makes it feel like Mitsubishi wanted to play a prank on its drivers. Checking your blind spot? Good luck with that. Let's talk about safety tech. While competitors in this price range offer standard advanced safety features, Mitsubishi often makes you pay extra for basics like blind spot monitoring. Because who doesn't love spending more money just to feel slightly less nervous on the highway? And the cherry on top? The braking performance is underwhelming. In emergency braking tests, the Eclipse Cross took longer to stop than many of its rivals, meaning if you ever have to slam on the brakes, you'd better hope the car in front of you has good insurance. At the end of the day, there are better, safer options for your money, unless you're looking for a vehicle that keeps your reflexes permanently sharp. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. If you found it helpful, then make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.